Classmates, class is in session. Today, let's learn the basics of components. Components are the most fundamental units of page views. They are encapsulated independent functional modules. UniApp provides developers with a series of convenient and practical basic components. Based on these basic components, developers can use these components in combination for rapid development. Now let's take a look at some basic components of UniApp. We will mainly learn from three aspects, namely, the usage of components, the attributes of components, and the categories of components. First, let's take a look at the usage of components. Components are the basic organizational units of the view layer, which are essentially HTML tags frequently written. Anything with start and end tags can be understood as a component. For example, commonly used elements like the div tag and view tag can be understood as components. Components are encapsulations of separate and repeatable functional modules. UniApp provides users with a series of practical basic components. Let's first take a look at the structure of components. Components include the following parts: start and end tags marked with the component name, also known as closing tags, as well as the content of the component, the attributes of the component, and the values of the attributes. You can see, this is the most basic structure of a component. This is the start tag. This is the end tag. These are multiple attributes of the component. This is the content of the component. For each attribute, there is a corresponding attribute value. This is a typical view component. Inside the view component, there is also a button component. The button component has an attribute size. The value of the size attribute is mini. Following that is the text of the button component, which is the word button. Here, you can see, the component is wrapped in angle brackets. Between the start and end tags is the content of the component. Attributes can be written inside the start tag. There can be multiple attributes, separated by spaces. Each attribute is assigned a value using an equal sign. If a component is installed in the components directory, or the UniModules directory, it can be used directly on the page, without being referenced or registered. One thing to note is, according to the View single file component specification, the root node of each view file should have a template node, and under this template node, there must be a root view component. This is how components are used. Now let's take a look at the attributes of components. Components have rich attributes, including common attributes, special attributes, and custom attributes, to meet various operations during component usage, making components flexible in various business scenarios. These are some types of attributes of components. There are Boolean types, numeric types, string types, as well as arrays, objects, and so on. Let's look at an example. What component is this? It's a button component. Its size attribute is of string type. It also has a have start time attribute, which is numeric, and a disabled attribute, which is Boolean, as a JavaScript variable. The attributes in that component are Boolean values. When using them, a colon should be added before the attribute, because the value of this attribute is false. It's Boolean type, so when using it, a colon should be added before it. Attribute values should be wrapped in quotation marks. This is the component's attributes. Now let's take a look at the common attributes of components. Components have a wide range of attributes, including those exclusive to themselves, as well as common attributes. These attributes are all common attributes. These common attributes are present in almost every component. For example, ID is the unique identifier of that component, which almost every component has. There's also the class attribute for the component's style class, the style attribute for the component's inline style, the hidden attribute indicating whether the component is hidden, and also data asterisk. Note that the asterisk can be replaced with other text, such as data val, etc. These are custom attributes. When events are triggered on components, the values of data asterisk attributes are passed to the event handling functions and attributes starting with it. These handle component events. Let's look at an example. In this example, you can see the common attributes of that component. What attributes do you see here? The class attribute for the component's style class. What other attributes are there? The style attribute, which is a common attribute for many components. You can see it has the class attribute. Many other components also have the class attribute, and attributes like style, etc. There's also hidden, indicating whether it's hidden. Please note, hidden attribute value is Boolean type, so a colon should be added before the attribute as well. You see the data val attribute. What's its value? Set to 7. This kind of attribute is a custom attribute. It will send its value to the event handling function. For example, clicking here, you'll see a pop-up saying, click the number 7 seconds. The data can be obtained in the event handling function using the method getData. Once the getData method retrieves this data, it displays it in a pop-up. This is where the data is retrieved. This whole page is a form. The data in the entire form can be submitted. You see, the data of the entire form can be submitted. These are some common attributes we've learned. Next, let's look at the categories of components. The components supported by UniApp are divided into Vue components and custom components for many programs. In daily development, it's recommended to use Vue components. UniApp also has some extended components, such as EasyCom components. The directory is components, and underneath it are the EasyCom components. There's also the UniModules directory. Under the UniModules directory, you'll typically find plugins and native plugins and Datacom components for the app side. A component can belong to multiple categories at the same time. That's the basic information about components we've learned today. After accumulating a good foundation of knowledge, next, we will explore the rich components of UniApp together. That's it for this class. Thank you, everyone.